Hello everyone, can you all see the screen and hear me?
Yes, can see and hear.
We can see.
All right, thank you all for confirming. And before getting into the contents for the day, let me introduce myself. I'm Preethi here. I'll be the instructor for this DevOps course. And I have almost 16 years of experience into IT and almost 10 years of experience into DevOps. Have worked with the different tools and technologies, different CI/CD strategies, and I'm a certified professional in Kubernetes and Terraform. That's a brief about myself. And let's talk about the course we are going to cover here. So, this DevOps course is completely designed or customized to cater everyone's needs. Particularly, it's helpful for people who want to switch their careers, like you're already into IT, if you want to make a move to DevOps, or else for people who are completely from a different background, or else people who are completely new. So, this course is suitable for everyone who want to work in DevOps. It is designed in such a way that it can help people from different backgrounds, different people from different categories. It's designed in such a way that will cover everything from basics till advanced concepts, and one can clear your interviews on your own. Like you can clear your interviews independently and also work in the projects with more confidence and add value to the projects. That's the main agenda of this course. It's not just you learn the course and move on. It's just like knowing the things. It's not just knowing the things. It's about gaining expertise on the tools and the topics and the DevOps strategies so that you can implement them in your projects and crack the interviews with confidence. So that is the main agenda in one line, right? How is that possible? That's possible because the course content is designed in a way that is helpful in the market, that's helpful or that suits the needs of the market today, and also with the real scenarios that we are covering here. With all my experience, every scenario we are doing hands-on is helpful to clear, like answer your interview questions, to work in your projects. Whenever you see you are working in your projects, you definitely relate to the topics or the scenarios we discuss here and we cover here, right? So that's the main strength of the course. It's not just the course content dumped in, because DevOps has a tool stack. Just dump in the topics, just dump in the tools, and just go through the topics and complete the course. That's not the agenda at all. The agenda is that, like I just mentioned, you have to become expertise by doing the complete hands-on. Majority of the course will be hands-on. DevOps, it is all about hands-on, and the theoretical part comes into understand the specific environment, understand the use cases, and the rest all would be the complete hands-on. So the lab setup, the lab materials we provide, the interview questions, these are all the add-ons for the course, which are very, very important. I'll help you go over those things towards the end of the day today. So let's get to the topic. Today we are going to discuss the DevOps overview on a high level. Like what is DevOps, why DevOps came in, why you should learn DevOps, what are the roles and responsibilities of DevOps. So these are the things we are going to cover here. So like getting a big picture of it, delivery pipeline, like what is a CI/CD pipeline, what are the tools, what are the skill set a DevOps person should have, right? These are the things we'll be discussing today. Like I believe, like you, there might be people who are experienced, who are already into DevOps, who are trying to switch their career. You may be knowing what is DevOps, why DevOps and all, but this fundamentals will help you like restructure your base with the strength. So let's get started. So, like whenever we look at DevOps, it's a combination of two terms, right? Like what exactly it is, why this term was coined, and all, we'll look into it. But before we progress, I believe and I assume like you all can see the screen and hear me. Like make sure you have a good audio and the screen share part. You can see the screen clearly. If not, check your settings so that we can get started with. And all of you are unmuted to avoid the background noises during recording. But if you have any questions, you can unmute and speak out. So let's get started. Can you all see the black screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So let's begin understanding the term DevOps. So whenever we see DevOps, we can easily understand it's a combination of two terms, development and operations, right? So yeah, development, you can also consider them like combination of two teams, development team and ops team. Let's talk about any application, any software application we are using. Let's talk about some mobile app, right? If you are using it, if you are using it means it has gone through a lot of process. Many teams are involved before it comes to an end user, correct? It could be a mobile app, it could be any e-commerce website, it could be like any software. Whatever we are using has gone through a lot of process and many people or many teams are involved in it, right? Here we were highlighting about two teams called development team and operations team. Let's talk about any e-commerce application, like any online shopping application, right? So you are using it means it has gone through all this process, like a lot of process like development, testing, right? Maintenance and all of this process it has gone through. And here we are highlighting about the main teams, like who are involved or the major part, like developers. Yes, they write the code, they develop the application, they design the application, right? They connect with the client to gather the requirements, discuss the requirements, expectations. All of that is done by the development team, right? Of course, BA involved and all, but I'm just talking about the main teams involved in here. So, development team who write the code, you may call them as developers or programmers. These are the people involved, right? So, yeah, they develop the application. And coming to ops teams, these guys are like admins, system admins, or network admins who look after the servers, services, or networks, logins, access, all of them would be taken care by these guys, right? So these are the different teams involved. When I say developers, I'm also including testers here who will test whether the application is meeting the expectations, meeting the standards or not. So yeah, developers, I mean, including testers also. So they do test the application, see it's meeting the expectations before it is going to the end user. So if this is the case, okay, let's suppose developers are writing the code, testers are testing it, and let's say, okay, they want to test it on some other different operating system, or else they need some new service kind of. So if they need anything, they would request the ops teams, and ops teams should serve their request, like whether it is a request for new operating system or a new service, whatever it is. So before ops teams serve the request, we can call ops teams in short as who look after the infra management or infra um, modifications, the creation of the intro, all of that would be taken care by ops teams. So let's say now developers, dev team needs some operating system or change in the service, whatever. So ops team should serve that. Before ops team will serve it, they will definitely take some time because they have to check if this new change is made, if this particular change is made, will it impact any servers? Will it impact any services? Any services going to be down or any networks going to be disconnected? They will do all these checks before they serve the request because ops teams, it's a responsibility of the ops teams to check the infrastructure is stable always. Isn't it? They should see the servers are running always, services are up and running, right? The networks are intact. So they should check all of these things before they serve the request of developers. Meanwhile, developers are waiting for the changes they need. It could be development team or testing team. They're still waiting for the changes they need, and always they need agility in the infrastructure to execute their test cases or to develop some frameworks. They need some agility, some changes in the infrastructure. And if you closely observe here, these are two different teams working for the same application or the same product, right? This is the product. Here we are talking about two teams. There were so many teams working at the back end, right? So we are focusing on these two teams. And if you closely observe, their skill set is different. Their core competencies are different. Means developers will have knowledge of programming skills or the build tools and all. Here, ops teams will have knowledge of the infra management part, like how to bring the servers up or how to maintain the servers health, how to monitor their status. All of this would be the focus of ops teams, right? Means their skill set. These teams have got different skill set. Their core competencies are different. So there is a gap between them. Like ops teams doesn't understand why they should request all these changes, and also dev team doesn't understand why they are taking lot of time to serve this request, right? Because they are coming from different skill set, their competences, core skill set is different. They don't have proper understanding of what other teams are doing, right? So there is a gap between the teams, and this becomes a huge drawback or the huge drift to allow a proper alignment or to improve the productivity. How to overcome this gap between the teams? How can we eliminate the gap between the teams? Is there any way we can eliminate the gap between them so that they can work in proper collaboration, proper, so that productivity increases, so that their way of work, like the proper, when you have proper understanding, you know what to provide them, why to provide them, and how effectively you can provide them. So how can we set up this proper collaboration between them? Is there any way? And yes, we were talking about why DevOps came in initially, right? Whenever we are learning anything, it's very important you learn why it is up, like why DevOps is so much buzz in the industry from couple of years and why we have to learn this. So that's what we are doing now. We are trying to understand why DevOps came in. So how to eliminate this gap? Any inputs from your end? Any thoughts? You can unmute and speak out, or else you can message in the chat window. Let's have an interactive sessions. So what do you think? How can we eliminate the gap between them?
Yeah, we need to implement one methodology. So new methodology, it's called DevOps.
Okay. Um, Thanks for the response. And Sudan says coordination. And Gangadhar says we need a person who can understand both. Okay. So yes,
Collaboration.
yeah. How can we bring this collaboration? Yes, we need a
We,
proper
we
collaboration.
need to deliver the faster delivery process, software delivery using DevOps
Okay.
to
Yeah.
deliver the software, yeah, immediately
Yes.
without any
So
interruption.
correct. Right. So yes, we need a methodology which can overcome this gap between the teams. We need a methodology which can help these teams collaborate with one another, so that we can, like, they can work with a proper understanding and without any blame game, right? So that's one of the reasons why DevOps came in. So So this is one of the reasons why DevOps came in, to eliminate the gaps. Means to eliminate the gap and to bring proper collaboration. Okay, let me put to eliminate the gap. Right? What are the other reasons? This is the only reason. Of course, there are other reasons as well. The next reason is, okay, let's assume, okay, development team and testing team are ready with their application. Developers have built the application, testers have tested it, it's application free. Now they have to hand over this application to ops teams for deployment, isn't it? They have to, okay, what is meant by deployment? Here I'm just covering or using more of a layman term so that everyone can understand the actual concept. Okay, then we will replace them with the actual terminology we use. So once they are ready with their application, it should be deployed so that end users can use it. Deployed means it should be running on the prod servers so that end users like us can use it. So they will hand over this application to ops teams, right? They'll hand over this application along with some instruction document. Instructions for what? I'll take a very simple example. It could be any application. It's irrespective of what technology it's developed in. Okay, for example, I'm just choosing here, let's say it's a Java application. Okay, they have to, this ops teams have to run this application on the prod servers. Of course, first they'll deploy into the lower environments, then to the prod. So whenever they are deploying it, they should know which version of Java should be used, isn't it? Like, let's say you want to run a Java application in your laptop, you need to install Java on the laptop, right? Also, you should install the latest version, correct? Or else the compatible version with your application. So ops team should know which version of Java. Also, let's suppose this Java has some dependencies. Let's say it has to be deployed on Tomcat. They should check which version of Tomcat again, right? So they should know which softwares should be available, which version of the softwares should be available to run this application. Also, let's say, okay, they are running it. If something goes wrong, if something is broken, they should be able to bring it back and see the application is up and running very quickly, right? They should see there are no blockers, or else if something is broken, they should see that it's put in place soon, means they should also work for high availability. So ops team has to look after all of these things before they provide the application to end users, which is obviously going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort, right? It's ongoing process, because if something is going broken, they have to see that application is highly available, right? Take an example of Amazon.com. Have you ever seen it is down, right? Take an example, Amazon.com, which we use in our daily life. We never see that application is down or not reachable, kind of, right? Some lakhs or thousands of lakhs of users would be using this application for sure, right? Across the globe. So how is that possible? All of that should be taken care, which takes a lot of time, lot of effort. And here, like I said, their skill set are different. Yes, developers know which version of Java, what software should be available, because they develop their application, they know that. So they are providing these details in the instruction document to ops teams. So ops teams would follow those steps and try to install those softwares and packages. But what happens? Sometimes those instructions provided by dev team might not be working in the actual server. Or else sometimes they might have provided these instructions for Linux servers, but they may have to do it on a Windows. Right? These are all the challenges. Sometimes ops teams may not be understanding these commands or instructions they provided, or else the dev team may not be providing the instructions in the way the ops teams understand. Correct? There is a like difference in the skill set. Obviously, this instruction document may not be helpful completely at times. Right? These are all the challenges we have, which leads to slower deployments, delay in deployments. Let's say they develop some feature, it would take some months to get to reach to the end users. Correct? So how can this challenge be overcome? Nowadays, like particularly like with the DevOps methodology, with the DevOps strategy, the way they hand over the application changed. Earlier, in the traditional methodology or without DevOps, they were handing over the application and then the instruction document. But now, the way they hand over the application changed. They were like dev team or testing team were containerizing their application and sharing it. What is meant by containerizing? What is the advantages? How to do it? All of that we are going to learn. Here, I just want to tell you the difference. Yes, the way they share the application, the way they pack their application, the way they build their application got changed. They're containerizing it and sharing it to DevOps team. So now DevOps team need not worry about the underlying softwares, the underlying versions, because here the main point is application is coming along with their dependencies. It's not just if I just want to, if I can go a bit deeper, they are not just sharing the var file and then an instruction document, but rather they are sharing the var file along bound with the dependencies. How exactly it is, what is a var file and all, we'll see. Var is specific to Java outcome. So whatever is the outcome, it could be .NET code, it could be PHP code. We don't write the code, and you as a DevOps guys need not learn about which code or how to write the code. There is still development team, right? With who will write the code, who will pack their application, and they'll provide their artifact or the outcome or the output. Because we did not talk about artifacts, I'm using the easy terms or the layman terms so that you can catch up here. So the app is shared along with the dependencies, so the DevOps team need not struggle for the underlying dependencies, versions, and all, so that they can just seamlessly run the application in any environment, right, without bothering about the underlying dependencies. So what's the advantage? Deployments became faster. Like, let's say they develop some new feature. Let's say some pandemic is there, like a couple of years back, like COVID. During the pandemic, immediately they have some notification on the website or the new features, or else some areas delivery were blocked. Even those could be popped up very easily overnight or within an hour, right? So how is that possible? Faster deployments. Any feature could be deployed and reach the end users very quickly through this DevOps methodology. How exactly it is, what is at the back end, we will learn. But yes, the reason is deployments are faster, or else we have accelerated the speed of deployments so that end users can receive the features immediately. Am I clear with the second point? Are we all good? Any questions? Thanks, Gangadhar, for confirming.
Yeah,
And
correct. Clear.
right. Thank you all for confirming. So how exactly this is happening and all we will learn. At this context, I would also like to clear one more thing. Many of you might be having questions because we see this question very frequently. Like people have questions like, okay, I'm a developer. Or else let's say, okay, I'm coming from non-development background. I don't know development. Should I become a DevOps? Can I become a DevOps person? Yes, obviously, because like I said, development team is still there, developers, testers are still there. You don't go and do coding and all as a DevOps person, okay? Development team is still there. They have to come together and work together. Doesn't mean that ops team, DevOps team will go and write the code. No, development team is still there. So they will write the code, they will give the artifact, or they will hand over the application. You have to automate the deployment. That's a process where DevOps comes in, right? So that should clarify majority of the questions. And another question is, like, okay, I'm developer, I still want to continue as a developer. Should I still learn DevOps? Of course, yes. Not only DevOps guys, everyone in this methodology should have a knowledge of this, because like I said, see here, DevOps revolutionized the process of development and testing. Earlier, they used to hand over the application like this, but now they were packing the application, containerizing it, and handing over. So if you are working in such a methodology, definitely they should have an idea of how to containerize their application, and they should have an idea of how it's going to progress further in the next automation process. Same is the case with testers. Even though you want to continue your developer role or a tester role, you still have to have idea of what is DevOps, how do you containerize and all. That becomes your strength, or the, like, you add value to the project. A developer with this knowledge will add value to the project. That's how you can upskill yourself. So like nowadays, like all the gigantic companies are already implementing this DevOps approach, like Amazon, Facebook, Netflix. All of these are already implementing it, right? That's why you could see the features seamlessly reaching end users. And all the other companies, like mid-sized companies, even startups are going for this DevOps strategy because of all of these advantages. We did not discuss all the advantages yet. We'll talk about them. All the companies are moving. In couple of years, definitely every company will step into it. So it's a right time to invest your time and put your effort to learn such a skill set. So that's a second reason. So developments, we can accelerate the speed of deployments. And what is the other reason? Other reason is to eliminate the drawbacks faced with the traditional software methodologies, right? Before DevOps, we have the traditional software methodologies, correct? What is a software development lifecycle, or what are the different software methodologies, you know? Okay, what is SDLC, software development lifecycle? See, if anyone new here, I'll give you a brief about it. You don't need to go and deep dive into it, just an idea. Development life cycle is nothing but sequence of phases or activities involved in development, right? And there were so many methodologies. I'm talking about the very famous one, waterfall methodology, which served the industry for decades. And it has sequence of activities like first requirements should be gathered, business analysts would be involved here, and different teams. But like I said, we were focusing on development, testing, and operations. So requirements will be gathered. Requirement analysis comes in, like first requirements should be analyzed, and then comes the design, right? And then coding, testing, delivery, and maintenance, right? So these are the different phases involved. Right? And also here, each phase goes one after the other. Like after gathering, you analyze the requirements, design, coding, testing, and these all goes one after the other in one direction, and hence the waterfall methodology from top to bottom. Let's suppose, and actually, it's a good methodology, but it has got its own challenges which both development team and ops team has faced. There were a lot many challenges this methodology has posed for both the teams. For let's talk about first the development team. Yeah, this methodology is very slow, right? Let's say coding is completed today, it would be going for testing after 3 months, after 6 months. Meanwhile, developers will be working on new code. Then they start testing, comes with the bugs in the old code. It would be really challenging to work with the new code and fix the bugs in the old code at the same time, right? So that's one of the challenge here. A lot of pressure to developers, slow methodology, and also not flexible. Like let's suppose they are in the coding phase, client comes with the new requirements and modifications, it cannot accommodate because it just goes in one direction, right? But it doesn't work in today's market, because it's a customer facing world. Requirements changes always. If they cannot accommodate the modifications or the new requirements, it doesn't work, right? Also, all the software will be delivered all at once. Like let's suppose you got requirements in 2024. They'll be freeze. Requirements are freezed. And the product will be delivered in 2026 without accepting any modifications, any additional requirements. If that is the case, by 2026, business might have changed completely. They doesn't need this product at all, right? So these are the challenges this methodology has. And similarly, ops teams also face challenges because of the slow methodology. They have to maintain the servers up and running always, right? Which is again a challenge. And here I'm talking about everything happening manually, right? So it's difficult to maintain the server uptime for longer durations manually, and no proper configuration management, poor configuration management. What is a configuration management? It's again a separate subject, separate tools are there. Let me tell you here. Configuration management is about having a control on the infrastructure, like what is happening on what server at what time, and having a good detailed history of all the infra. So without tools manually, this is not possible. If something goes wrong, they have to check first, troubleshoot, identify the server, which is a challenge because there is no proper control over the infra, and they have to troubleshoot it, fix it, which would definitely take a lot of time and effort, right? And also poor monitoring. Like there is no monitoring tool used, like they used to monitor the servers manually, which is again a challenge. If there are one or two servers, you can monitor it manually. But if you have huge infrastructure, definitely a good monitoring tool is needed. So these are all the challenges this methodology has posed. Actually, to overcome these challenges, there came something else called agile methodology. You might be well known about this. But this methodology is successful to overcome only the challenges of dev team. But challenges of ops team are still there. These challenges are still there, right? So that's where actually DevOps came in, which can overcome challenges of challenges faced by both the teams. Are we clear with this? Any questions from anyone? Thank you, Sushil, for confirming. Any queries from anyone?
Oh, yes, it's fine. I have one question here. So
Hmm?
in the mainframe platforms, how we can implement the DevOps methodology? So can you elaborate something, some idea?
Okay, actually, DevOps is a methodology, right? It's a methodology, and you can consider it like a process, right? This process is irrespective of your application. Like I said, it could be a Java application, .NET application, PHP, whatever it is. It's irrespective of the technology. It's irrespective of the platform. This would answer the most frequently asked question as well. Like, should we learn DevOps on AWS or Azure or on-prem? So it's again a methodology. It's irrespective of the platform, whether it is on-prem or on cloud. Same is the case with whether it is a mainframe or whatever it is. But the flow is like the whole process would be automated. Means, let me tell you here. Let's say, okay, developers are ready. Now that we understood the reasons, here we were talking about what is DevOps, right? It's a methodology. And let's say developers and testers are ready with the code. Okay, once developers are ready with the code, how to take this code, or means how to take this application to the production table, right? With automation, the complete automation. This is what is DevOps. This whole process is automated, and this is what is DevOps. Like from the desk of a developer till it reaches the production table, the whole process is automated. And this process of automation is DevOps. If you know this process of automation, yes, you are a DevOps engineer. You may be knowing development or not. You might be coming from a non-IT background, or you might be coming from a ops background or development background, whatever it is. If you know this process of automation, taking the code from desk of a developer to production table without manual intervention, and it is 24/7 automation, that's what is DevOps, right? So now coming to your question, it could be your mainframe application or .NET, PHP or whatever it is. This is the process of automation we'll be learning. So irrespective of the application, the process remains same, but there might be some specific things with trust bound to the application, but that would be the less percentage. And also, like mainframes are like the old technology, right? Or else the legacy ones in the companies, if we see, right? This DevOps is a very new technology, and it's like we are getting the new tools emerge daily. So you have to check if there were any support for mainframes. As far as I believe, like it should support the actual trend of deploying it and automating the process of deploying the application. But like I said, there should be some customization or specific things relevant to this particular application. This is the main focus. Hope that is clear for all of you.
That information is there, but so I think is whatever using DevOps tools, right? It won't support the mainframe platform. So it's a mainframe operating system. It won't install in any of the platform, right? That's the problem in mainframe system.
See,
So
that's a platform itself. If you can't install, it would be the case with anything, right? It would be the case with any kind of deployments, not only the DevOps thing. Let's say if you want to put it into automation, the challenge would be there for any technology. Here, the thing is, we are automating the whole process, right, with the 24/7 automation. This is the main point. But if the application itself doesn't support it, it's not DevOps doing something with it. So this is about the DevOps, and this part of automation where you are automating the whole process. Here comes all the tools. How do we automate this process, right? There were tools used, there were technologies used, there were strategies, different strategies, and this part is called the CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. This process of automation from developer till it goes to the production table, there we build a pipeline to automate the entire process, and that is called CI/CD pipeline. Okay, we'll talk more about this in few minutes. And so who are eligible or who are involved here? Anyone who have this knowledge of the process of automation can be, like you can like anyone is eligible if you know this process of automation. So how are we automating it? Like I said, by using the tools, by using different strategies of CI/CD, we will do this. So what are all the skill set a DevOps person should have and all? We'll look into this one. So DevOps is a methodology. It's not just a tool, or it's not just a technology. It's a process, or it's a methodology. And also here, as we are covering, going to this DevOps, I would also like to here point this Agile part. In the Agile methodology, it could successfully overcome the challenges of developers, right? How is that possible? Let us also have a look at it. It's not that we are learning Agile here, but just some understanding how it could overcome the challenges of developers, right? In Agile methodology, there'll be frequent releases. Maybe every week or every alternative weeks, there'll be deliveries, frequent releases, right? Every week or every alternative week, there'll be release. Code is always stable and ready for release. Also, testing has become faster. Let's say code is ready this week, right? It would be immediately going for testing. Unlike in SDLC, in waterfall methodology, it is not just testing after 6 months and all. So because it implements this, it could overcome the challenges of developers. And how is that possible? Let me just give you more idea about it. Let's consider it's a week 1. Code is developed in bits and chunks. Let's say developers are writing a bit of code, a chunk of code A. Okay, they develop this code. All right. In the week 2, immediately, this particular chunk of code A would be going for testing. Right. In the second week, developers are not sitting idle. They'll be developing another chunk of code called B. Again, on week 3, this B will be tested, right? And so on. And at some point of time, definitely, like this A and B will be combined and tested. Then only it makes a complete product, right? So if you notice here, every week, development and testing are happening, right? Means development and testing are happening iteratively, parallelly, or continuously, which is called continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration. Like the code is merged. Whenever a new code is developed, it will be merged into the system and tested. Because Agile uses this continuous development, continuous testing, and continuous integration, yes, it can overcome the challenges of developers, which developers faced. Also, we are going to have a separate session and deep dive on like how do you implement continuous testing, continuous integration and all. Here I am trying to give you an understanding to know like how Agile can overcome those challenges. Okay, there's a question from Rahul. How does a test automation pipeline work? And as it is included in the DevOps process, I mean, how can we integrate it into the workflow to take it all the way to production? Okay, Rahul, I will cover this question in few minutes. Okay, I'm going to take you through the CI/CD pipeline, an overview, so that I'll answer your question there. Right? So DevOps is a methodology, it's a process irrespective of the technology. It could be a Java application or .NET application or whatever, and you could implement it on-prem or else on any cloud. And here it's not a separator for each cloud on each on-prem. If you know the CI/CD process of implementing it on any environment, on any application, it would be almost the same for any other technologies. Like your application may be on .NET tomorrow, or else you might be doing it on Azure. The CI/CD process remains same, the concepts remain same, the tools also remain same. There will be also an analogy across the cloud. So if you have a good expertise on one technology or on one environment, it would be similar for other rest of the environments as well. This course focuses on DevOps, and the agenda is that after this course, you could implement in your CI/CD pipeline on any platform. That is the main agenda. So it's a process, it's a methodology, it's not a tool or a technology. Also, there is a misunderstanding that DevOps means just integrate all the tools, just use all the tool stack. That's what is DevOps. No. Also, we hear that people saying, okay, we are implementing DevOps from tomorrow. Like our project has moved to DevOps. Another interesting point here is DevOps cannot be achieved in an overnight. It's a continuous ongoing process of improvement and implementation. Because today you might be automated it and this automation is taking 10 minutes. Tomorrow there is still a lot of room for improvement. You could still automate it to make the pipelines more efficient, more effective, and you can make it more better by reducing the time or increasing the efficiency. So it's a continuous ongoing process. There are still chances or still room for improvement for any CI/CD pipeline. And initially, to develop this pipeline or design this pipeline from the scratch, you may need more people. Once the CI/CD pipeline is designed, you need less people to monitor it or to look after this pipeline. Right? Also, the strongest with this skill set will survive in the market in the long run. Everything is going to be automated, right? So the person with the strongest skill set in this automation process will be surviving in the market. So everyone should learn these technologies, this skill set, and upskill yourself. So now that we understood why DevOps came in and what is DevOps, let's talk about the tools we are covering here and the skill set you should have. So whatever we discussed is documented here. This presentation will be available for you for reference, like a notes after the class. All of them, whatever we discussed, drawbacks of Agile and how Agile could successfully eliminate the challenges of dev teams and why DevOps came in. And yeah, here you can see the waterfall methodology. Design, coding, testing is going one after the other. But in Agile, it's continuous development, continuous testing, but deployment is manual. In DevOps, even deployment has become like continuous. Let me show you that difference. Like you can compare the methodologies. Like if you take a waterfall methodology, let me take waterfall, Agile, and DevOps. In waterfall, like there is a development. After this, you have testing. After testing, there will be deployment and then monitoring one after the other, right? In Agile, you have continuous development, means development testing are happening parallelly or continuously. Continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, and then again deployment is manual once this integration is done, and monitoring. These two were still manual. And in DevOps, you have continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, along with a continuous deployment and continuous monitoring, right? Means let's assume developers have developed a small feature, right? It would be tested, integrated, deployed, monitored automatically, immediately, without manual intervention, which is the CI/CD. And of course, first it would be deployed to lower environments, tested in the lower environments, then move to higher environments, and then to production. But everything is automated without any manual intervention. That's possible. Yes. Facebook is a best example for this. It sounds challenging and risky. Yes, but this is what is DevOps. It's possible in DevOps. Like I'm repeating again, let's say developers have developed a feature. Testers will be writing the test cases, like automated test case. The pipeline will execute the test cases. Like Rahul is having question and some of you might be having the same question. Test cases will be still written by testers. Those test cases will be executed in this pipeline. Like as a DevOps person, you should create the pipeline such a way that it will execute those test cases written by automation testing professionals. Those test cases will be executed, results will be sent, email. If there are any bugs, the pipeline will be rolled back. All of this process will be involved in here. So if testing, like all the test cases executed, pass successfully, it will be integrated, deployed, and monitored. Of course, first to the lower environments like dev environment, staging, UAT, pre-prod, and then to prod. The same pipeline would be repeated across multiple environments from lower to higher environment without any manual intervention. And this is what is CI/CD pipeline in DevOps. Of course, again, there are different strategies. Like Even deployment to production is automated without manual intervention, right? But there is also chance, let's say you want to keep a manual intervention, manual judgment. Yes, you can do that. A manual judgment can be included here. Like there should be a manual approval, right, from the manager or the leads who can approve the deployment, then only it will go for production. You can include this manual judgment stage, which is called actually continuous delivery. Deploying the application with a manual intervention or the manual judgment is called continuous delivery, whereas the process automated is called continuous deployment. We use these terms interchangeably, like delivery, deployment, we don't see difference. We use these words interchangeably, but this is the actual difference between these terms. It depends on the projects or how they use the terms, but that's the actual difference between continuous deployment and continuous delivery. When you should go for continuous delivery, when for continuous deployment and all we will learn, but both are possible in DevOps. Am I clear? This is just an overview, okay, to give you some idea. We will deep dive into every one of these. We'll see how manual judgment is integrated, how, when we should go for it. All of this we will be discussing in the due course.
Actually, I have a doubt.
Yes, please.
In DevOps, that is necessary to work in that Linux platform, or we can work in Windows platform also.
Okay, like I said again, DevOps is a methodology, right? It's not about Linux or the Windows. Your application, if it's a window-based application, yes, it would be containerized as a Windows container, and that's how it progresses. Linux comes into DevOps. When we talk about DevOps, like we hear about more Linux, because majority
Yes.
of the DevOps tools work on Linux, right? Like if you take a Ansible can configure the Windows servers as well, but the main Ansible should be like the Ansible core server should be installed in Linux. That's how there's a dependency. And also majority of the applications now, because of the efficiency and all, are moving to Linux based systems. But let's say there is some application which is bound to Windows. Yes, DevOps is free to deploy, configure everything on Windows as well. Like I said, Ansible configures Windows also, but the core will be on Linux. That's all. That's where Linux is coming in, but not that it's just bound to automate Linux application. Hope you got.
Actually, I don't have idea about that Linux and that there are no experience and knowledge. So, can I handle this platform?
Of course, Amit, like we are including that Linux also in our course, like what to what extent you should know to become a DevOps person. Those Linux concepts were included, integrated. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I stick to that. This course is for everyone. You might be having a Linux experience or not. You might be coming from a whole different background, or you might be an experienced person. Everyone will benefit and gain a solid foundation in DevOps here.
Okay.
Ma'am, I
Okay.
have one question.
Yes, please.
I understand that DevOps is an automation process, but I'm curious, what is the real difference between someone with a 1 year experience and someone with a 5 year experience in DevOps?
There are different responsibilities, right? In any project. Let's forget about DevOps. Are you into IT, Raghu?
Yes, yes.
So you have different roles in your project, right? What is a role given to 1 year person? What is a role given to 5 years person? That would be different. Am I correct? Same is the case here also. Like a 1 year person might be monitoring the deployments, or he might be monitoring the changes happening in the pipeline. A senior most person might be configuring the pipeline. One example, a simple example I have given. Similarly, a 1 year person might be just running kubectl apply command to deploy on Kubernetes. Whereas an experienced person might be writing the Kubernetes manifest files or Kubernetes config files, which help in that kubectl apply command. You provide the manifest files for them. So there is a difference comes with the experience, right? So,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, yes, ma'am. I have one sub question. If I am saying like already working for 10 years in IT industry, I'm new to DevOps process, new to DevOps process. But the organization see me if I'm trying to go for interview, and the organization is going to see me. I have already like if I'm going to fake it. That's what honestly I'm saying. I'm going to fake it. I already have a 10 years experience in DevOps or 5 years experience DevOps, because I can't tell them I'm new to DevOps because I already worked for 10 years in different technology. I can't tell I'm new to DevOps. So if I'm saying 5 years experience in DevOps, they expect I'm the going to be decision maker. I'm the going to be the architect on the DevOps. So I would like to know how this is going to really help me into that kind of skills and knowledge.
Okay, there are different ways to answer this question, or else different approaches one can choose. It again, it depends on individual choice. Like, for example, you are 10 years a developer, right? Let's say you are a developer. Now you are taking up this course and you have expertise. This means you have understood everything well. You have completed all the hands-on labs we have provided, right? So with all of the expertise you gain, let's say you have 100% perfect with whatever we teach here, right? In that case, you can see, very easily claim 3 to 4 years or above experience in DevOps as well, right? And also, let's say you want to go to that level, I mean, to pick up a role of a 5 years experience DevOps. Yes, in your resume, you can add out of this 10 years, 5 years on the same project, you can put that it as a DevOps. Like, let's say you have done something manually. You can include the tools where you have used into DevOps. Like, let's say you are using you are doing some deployment manually. You can include some Jenkins or Docker and integrate these tools into your project to claim that you have used them for 5 years. Or else, let's suppose you have taken the course, but you want to get started slowly. There is another use case, right? Some other person may want to get started slowly as a 1 or 2 year person. So accordingly, you can add in your resume. In the same development project, there are projects where they use Jenkins, Git, or Docker as well. It's not a complete demo, but they might be using those tools. So you can claim that way, in my development project, I have used these tools, I have got the knowledge. So it is an individual's choice how they want to portray themselves, or how they want to market themselves, or which role they want to shift into. I
Thank you,
hope that
ma'am.
idea.
Thank you. Ma'am, I have another sub question. I'm sorry, I don't want to kill your time. So, end of the session, I will ask questions.
No worries. We'll again come to these points or discussion towards the end. Many people will have those queries. We'll again discuss these things towards the end.
Sure.
Right. So we were talking about the differences, right? So these are the differences between the methodologies, and I could also differentiate them with respect to the teams. Like, okay, in waterfall methodology, these teams were working in silos, in separation. Means each doesn't understand the challenges of others. No proper collaboration, no proper understanding. That's why there is a gap we learned right in the beginning. So they have different skill set. They don't understand. They were working in silos. But in Agile, because development is testing happening parallelly, iteratively, continuously, these teams were brought together. Development testing were brought together and working as a single team. It doesn't mean that developers will go and write test case or testers will go and write the code. They were brought together means there was proper collaboration, proper understanding, proper communication. They were working parallelly, so they have to communicate. Okay, this code is tested today. They have to hand it over to testers. Communication has become more, and that's how collaboration has improved in Agile. But still, ops team was left over here. I mean, it's still working in silos. Then came DevOps. Even this automation deployments have become automated. These two teams means actually three teams. Here I have included QA also. So developers, testers, ops teams were working continuously, parallelly. There is a communication improvement, right? They were collaborating better. They now, because they're collaborating better, they understand. They see what developers did yesterday. Now they got the code, and tomorrow DevOps team is going to deploy it through a CI/CD. There's a continuous communication and collaboration. Thereby, they understand why developers need these requirements or what are the challenges. That's how they were brought together. DevOps, in the DevOps methodology, communication with other teams is very important. We gel with other teams very well. It's like a day in and day out. We communicate with developers, testers. that communication is the key. So that's how these three teams were brought together, which made the term DevOps. So going back, so this is the differentiation we have here. And coming to the roles. So the roles and responsibilities, you will understand the responsibilities to the granular level once we start the hands-on. But let me tell you, you might be working on any part in that CI/CD, right? In that automation process, you might be working in automating the execution of test case, or else you might be automating in deploying the application, or else you might be working in automating the infra creation or configuration management. In anywhere or in any part, you should be ready to work, right? Those are all the roles. Not apart from that, managing Kubernetes clusters, making the deployments on clusters, making the Terraform configurations, all of these are also responsibilities. Setting up our monitoring servers, monitoring alerts for the application, all of these are the responsibilities of DevOps person. So which responsibility would be given to which person depends on their expertise, experience, all of this comes in. We will discuss more, like you will understand whatever we are doing here, the scenarios, the tasks we implement, or all the responsibilities and all DevOps person should cover. We'll deep dive into this once we get started with that. And the skills and the tools a DevOps person should know. A DevOps person should have knowledge in version control systems. What is a version control system and all? We will learn in the next class. Next class, I'll take you through overview of each tool, like what each tool does, just an overview before we get started with our tools. So version control systems, build automation tools like Maven, continuous integration tool like Jenkins, containerization tool Docker, infrastructure as a code or configuration management tool Ansible, and infrastructure provisioning tool Terraform, and container orchestrator tools like Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, and continuous monitoring tools like Prometheus, Grafana, and cloud computing services are one example of cloud. Like I said, DevOps could be implemented irrespective of the platform. Here, once you learn the DevOps, you could implement it on-prem as well as on any cloud. As an example of cloud, we are covering it on AWS. It means you could implement it on any cloud. There will be similarities. And also, if you see here, version control system, we are covering it. You might be having question again or else a confusion. There are many tools under this version control system. Of course, for any category, like you have TFS, SVN, and build automation tool, you have Maven, Ant, Gradle, PyPy, so many are there, right? So we will master one tool under each category, which is good enough, right? Also, that's what companies are looking for. If you know one version control systems, companies expect people flexible enough to get into other tool because they are similar, they'll be similar, and the concepts would be similar. With little effort and self-learning, you can shift to any other tool in the category. That's the expectation from the interviews as well. When we sit in the interview panel, we see for candidates who have knowledge in one tool under each category. Like let's say Ansible. Let's say tomorrow they have to work on Puppet. We expect yes they can move on because new tools are emerging in the market daily in DevOps. So it's not that we stick upon to only Ansible or else we stick upon only to Prometheus kind of. But we are covering the tools which have the market share, a great market, wider market share, so that it would be also an added advantage to quickly jump into the projects. But the idea is this is what we look at. And also similarly to AWS, it's not that we are looking for people like interviews look for people for AWS, GCP. They should know everything. As you know, if you know one cloud, that's fine. You can work on any other cloud because, like I said, there'll be similarities. Analogies would be similar. We expect people to be flexible enough to work on other clouds or other technologies. So master one tool under each category, master one cloud, and gain solid experience and expertise in the DevOps. That will help you to work in any sort of projects in the long run. So We are covering Git, Maven, Jenkins, Docker. Of course, this is just a brief list. There are many more things added. We are also covering EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, a paid service in Kubernetes, which is having a very great demand in the market, which will be covered here. And AWS services, even EKS is under this AWS services. I'll walk you through the course content in a while. This is just a brief list. We have other tools also included like Artifactory, JFrog, and Argo CD for GitOps principles. Those are not listed here, but yes, we are also covering those topics. And also, like I mentioned, we'll be covering Linux basics, whichever needed for a DevOps engineer. Linux stuff, whatever we need to get into DevOps, those things will be covered from the basics. Any questions in this part from anyone?
Ma'am, I have one question.
Mm.
So whenever I'm seeing the DevOps, they always talking about Maven and Java related product. Is there a way for the C Sharp .NET for this? Is it going to be same cycle or different cycle?
Like I said, Raghu, DevOps is irrespective of the technology in which your application is developed. You can implement DevOps for Java, .NET, C Sharp, Perl, PHP, whatever it is, right? It can be implemented. And Java Maven, as an example, we are covering it. In this course, we are covering two projects. One is Java Maven, another one is PHP with a SQL at the backend, microservice application. So we are covering both the examples. And like I said, it doesn't make any difference whether it is Java or C Sharp. The tools will be different, but they follow similar analogy, similar concepts. So if you know this Java Maven perfectly, if you can gain expertise on how this works, uh, C Sharp with other tools also would be following the similar analogy and the concepts. It would be easy to switch over to other applications as well.
Got it, ma'am.
So, like I said, you have to focus on the concepts, the actual methodology, the strategies rather than the individual tools. Of course, master one tool, like we are covering Maven. So, tomorrow, if you are have to work on some other tool which supports .NET like Microsoft Build Engine and Enand, you can easily switch to. And by the way, this build automation tool is a developer tool. We will learn it from the perspective of DevOps, means from the view of, from the point of DevOps, what you should know. Those things we will learn for any tool. So those things would be similar for any other tools and technologies under the same category.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Pipeline, right? The continuous integration, process, right? So it's a one-time activity, right? It's a one-time activity. So if you one time it is shut up the CI/CD pipeline, it's continuously integration happen, continuously deployment happen. So after that, what is the role of DevOps engineers?
Like I said, right, it's a continuous process. You can't say that, okay, DevOps is complemented. Always there is scope of improving your pipelines. Broken pipelines will be there. You have to fix it. Right, you have to do a lot of modifications as per the requirements of the pipelines. If there is a new requirement, you may have to integrate that new stage, or broken pipelines have to fix, improvising the pipelines. These are all the scopes still there, but initially designing from the scratch will need more people. Later on, you don't need those many people. Like I said, right, everything is going to be automated, IT process, and so many roles would be wiped off with the DevOps. So like that's the reason the strongest with this skill set will survive in the market. Not only in DevOps, everywhere automation is coming, AI is coming. So you have to know you have to have good expertise on the skill set to survive in the market. But still, there is a scope for work on the pipelines.
Yeah, for these reasons, right? For EA also is came into the picture. So how long you can journey with the DevOps? Uh, if you learn DevOps, right? If you become a DevOps engineer, so how long we can journey with this? So since it's a lot of art,
There are thousands and lakhs of projects. New projects are emerging. Whenever new project comes up, definitely you have to design the CI/CD pipeline, or a new module is there. For every new module, you have a new pipeline. There'll be always scope for it. As long as you DevOps, as long as you want this automation process, DevOps engineers should be there. If you compare it with other technologies, they were replaced by automation completely, but that's not the case with DevOps. Like I said, right, a misconception that DevOps is a tool stack. You just integrate all the tools, that's done. There is a there is a scope or lot of scope where DevOps person should be involved. There should be which tool should be integrated where, when a tool should be used, when not, or how you can automate this process. This is all a manual decision where which cannot be replaced by AI, at least as of now. Right? When you compare with other tools, there's a lot of scope of automation. In DevOps, automation is there, but still manual intervention, manual decision is still there, and there's a lot of scope to automate it. Not that every project has migrated to DevOps. It would take easily more than 10 years or more for every project to move into DevOps. And yes, Kubernetes, Docker, these tools, like particularly Kubernetes, Docker, containerizing this app would definitely need manual intervention, which is having a wide market. Like out of all the projects, how many do you think have migrated or containerized? Not even 30%. So how to automate, how to containerize all those? Don't we need DevOps people there? That's the reason even when the market is down or the market is grayed out or not good, even DevOps people, DevOps resumes are getting calls. Still, there's a lot of demand. Market is like under resources for DevOps. The skilled people are not there. Everyone is adding the tools in the resume. We see like we are adding the tools in the resume without proper expertise, proper experience. Candidates come to the interview. We cannot select them, right? There is a lot of under resources for DevOps.
Preethi Garu,
Yes.
actually, one question. In DevOps, they are having any scripting, any coding is available?
Scripting and coding is not there in DevOps. Okay,
Oh,
Kubernetes manifest files will be there. Terraform config files will be there. They cannot be called as coding. Particularly,
oh,
Kubernetes manifest files are templates. We take those templates from Kubernetes official documentation. Kubernetes is an open book exam, even in the interview or in the certification. Because I hear people or else misunderstanding again saying that Kubernetes you have to write, those are not code. So it's a template which you can take from official website even in interview or in the real time, even in the certification. You are not supposed to write them on their own, and of course that's not code at all. That's a template or format of manifest file which you take and modify it with your what is the resource size you want to allocate, what is the image name you have. You will replace those values in the template. That cannot be called as a coding, but without actual knowledge, and that's how like there's a misunderstanding or misconcepts, or that's how people are misguided. Kubernetes files, there's a lot of code, that's not a code. I'll show you in the next class a sample of how it would look like.
okay, okay.
So this is not coding, okay? These are manifest files or configuration files. Coding is different, totally different, like how developers write the code. And then yes,
Preethi, uh, in AWS service, how many services are covering in this course?
I'll show you, Praveen. Just give
Mm.
me a while. I'll
Sure.
give you an overview of the CI/CD pipeline and take you
Okay.
through the course content and the lab setup. Everything I'll take you through. Just
Okay.
so as we were talking about the CI/CD pipeline, right from the beginning, this is how it would look like. See here, a bunch of developers, they're writing the code and placing in Git. If anyone are new to what is Git, what is a version control system, in the next class, like tomorrow, we are getting an overview of each of these tools. Like again, an overview. Until you deep dive, do the hands-on, you don't get a clarity on it. But we'll provide some more overview in the next class. But just understand, yes, developers write the code, place it in Git. And here begins the CI/CD part. Like through Jenkins, continuous builds means builds are automated. What is meant by build again? It's again, we will learn it. But let me tell you, it's like packaging their code to develop the artifact or output from the code. So it's built there. And then, of course, testing. I have highlighted here Selenium. It could be anything. It's again automation testers will choose the testing tool like Selenium or UFT or JMeter, whatever it is. They write their automation test cases. Again, I want to highlight here, testing team is still there. Development team is still there. They have their own roles. So this continuous testing means we are executing those test cases here through automation. Rather than running those test cases separately, it is automated, means execution is automated here. And then it is deployed. Under deployment, it's containerized first using Docker and deployed on Kubernetes cluster. These can be configured by Ansible, and infrastructure provisioning like Kubernetes cluster can be created by Terraform. Right? Infrastructure can be created by Terraform. Once infrastructure is created, it can be configured by Ansible. What is meant by configuring with Ansible and all? Like it's a huge, big story. You cannot get clarity in just a day. I'm just giving you an idea. Like this, every phase comes in, and then monitoring with Prometheus or Grafana, which we are covering here. Monitoring with Prometheus and visualization with Grafana, and send the reports to the, or send the alerts to the respective teams. This is the CI/CD pipeline in short. You can implement this in on-prem or else on cloud. I will be covering this so that you can cover it, you can execute it on any platform. Also, as an example, we'll be covering it like an on-prem as well as an on-cloud and AWS. That's why I have written AWS here. Of course, in this pipeline, again, many AWS services will be used. I'll list them in a while, but this is the high level picture of your CI/CD pipeline. And here many things are not again highlighted. Like continuous builds, you'll be having code coverage, code analysis, static code analysis, code coverage, unit testing, different types of testing, different review stages. I haven't highlighted them. I have just highlighted the major ones here to give you a good picture of what it is all about. Any questions in this part? Just an idea, like I hope you all got an idea. Can I assume you're all good having an understanding, an overview of it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
I
yes.
have one question. So here you mentioned continuous deployment after continuous testing. So generally after deployment only will do testing, right? So
Here deployment which I highlighted is the final level. Let's say yes, you will have one here as well, okay, before testing also into the lower environments, and then tested it and then again deploy to the next environments, right? That's the part I have highlighted here. After testing it goes to the next level, right? So highlighted that part here. That's the assumption in adding it here. Let's say the prod one.
got it. Okay. And one more question I have. So generally, see, I mean, so in automation, actually, we are just designing our pipeline only, right? And you mentioned that, okay, here also we are just designing one pipeline. Okay, we are actually code just deploy in production. So how actually that automation pipeline different from this pipeline, or we can just include our automation pipeline into one pipeline only, where actually code and automation test cases together will just go and deploy in production, and then we'll run our test cases there. So no need to maintain actually two pipeline kind of
What
QA
is the
pipeline or dev.
pipeline? I did not get that. Can you
So
come?
so pipeline basically means there actually we have our automated test cases, means test cases are there and automatically actually it keeps on running in that pipeline.
Yeah, this is the same, right?
Yeah. So do we need to maintain just one pipeline or kind of means
Every environment will have a separate pipeline. Like there'll be a pipeline for dev environment, staging environment, UAT, pre-prod, prod. There'll be separate pipelines for each environment, right? Let's say you have the test case, unit test cases that could be in the dev pipeline, and integration test case in the next pipeline. That's how it is. You will have different pipelines for each environment.
okay.
Once the lower level one is triggered, it will automatically trigger the pipeline in the next level. I mean, next environment and so on. That's how you have the series of pipelines. And this entire pipeline is also automated. It's not that you created it manually. You can create it manually, but the real approach is entire pipeline is automatically created. How is that? Your DevOps persons are there at the back end. You will automate the creation of the pipeline as well. We are going to learn all these things. And other thing is, it's not just creating a pipeline. This pipeline creation from the desk of a developer, or else once developer is ready with the code, to create this entire pipeline, it will take some time. In our course particularly, we will take 2 months. 2 months we will create these pipelines on 2 projects. parallelly. We'll be working on one Java Maven, other one is a microservice application, PHP as a front end and SQL database at the back end. So it will take some time. First, the agenda of that is from tomorrow, like once we get started with the tool, we'll first learn this Git. Okay, we will master this. Okay, once Git is like, once we are good with Git, we will learn Jenkins, we'll master it. Then we'll come back and create this space, Git and Jenkins added, like this part. Then we'll go and learn Maven. Come back and add it to the pipeline. That's how we'll create this pipeline step by step in phases, which will take some time. We cannot create it in a day. Even in the real time, it takes some time. It takes some days to create this. So it's a lot of work there involved. Also, even after creating, there'll be a lot of modifications, corrections, improvements to be done, new stages to be integrated. So lot of scope of work here. Any more questions?
So we are using Jenkins tool, or we can use other tools also like GitHub Action or Azure DevOps.
In this course, we are learning Jenkins. If you learn Jenkins, you can switch to other tools easily. Like I said, those are all similar tools in the category, GitHub Actions and all. So if you master Jenkins, yes, you can use other tools very easily. Jenkins is very widely used in the market. That's the reason for choosing it. If you master it, like I said, yes, you can switch to other tools in the category easily. And also, you have to focus on one tool under each category. Don't jump onto multiple tools in the same category. That will not help you. Rather, learn different tools under, multiple tools under different categories. You should choose one tool under each category, because you should know everything. You should know the deployment part. You should know the configuration part, infrastructure provisioning part. So every stage you should know. So learn one tool under each category. Expertise one tool under each category.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Sure. All these pipelines are based on microservices or based on the project. The project might have 10 microservices. So how this is, what basis is created the pipelines based on the microservices or based on the project?
Microservices is nothing but your project, right? It depends
And
on the
sometimes,
type of your project. If your project is monolithic, again, we'll create a pipeline. If it's a microservice also, we'll create the DevOps pipelines. It depends whether your project is monolithic one or it's having a microservices and all. Whatever it is, we will create this pipeline and we'll have a pipeline for each microservice separately. It depends on how they have designed their project.
yeah, in the sense, my point of view is project means e-commerce is a project. So that may have a payment, inventory, and other services. So each payment is one microservices, and inventory is another microservices like that. That's why I mean to say project.
Right. That's your
Okay.
project. Or else
Okay.
your project could be monolithic also. You may be having only Java. That is also a project, right? So whether it is a microservice one or whether it is a monolithic one, DevOps pipelines will be created in the same way. What makes the difference, how it is, we are covering in the course. That's why I'm covering 2 projects in the course end to end. Also, you'll be given with the multiple assignments on different applications as well. So how will be answered there? Like how exactly we are doing will be covered in the course.
Got it, man.
So, this is the overview of what we would do in the course. And for you, like how to set up the lab and where do we do the lab and all. Here is, let me walk you through our website, right? If you go to preethidevops.com, like you can just go here and let me log out once. Yeah, go to the student login. Every one of you can do it. Please stay back. We are not yet done. Okay, I will answer few questions which I have kept on hold and I have to show you the lab setup and all. Just please stay back. Go to the student login. Every one of you can do. If you are for the first time, go to sign up and create an account with your Gmail. If you have already created it, go to login, choose your account, a Gmail account preferably. Okay. Now, if you come here, you will have My Learnings. Go to My Learnings. Yeah. So these are all the things I have enrolled into. Okay. What you can do is go to Live Class Login. You all have to go here. Live Class Login. And here you can see the demo class or demo videos and all. Just load more and view details. So if you just go there and load more and view details, you can see here the demo class is going on now, right? The class link will be available, and after this, the recording will also be available here. So you can go here, yeah, sorry, here. So demo link, the class link to join from tomorrow, like 3 days demo is available. You can go here and click on this, the meeting ID, password everywhere, and the WhatsApp group link. WhatsApp group is like once you get registered, enroll for the course, there is a separate private WhatsApp group where we will provide the lab support. Like if you are stuck up with your hands-on, you can post your queries here. So join the WhatsApp group, and all the demo recordings will be posted here in some time. Like after the class, will update these videos. These are from the previous batch, but yeah, will be updated here. And here is the uh, syllabus. I don't think syllabus is updated. Maybe I'll show you the syllabus in another page. But yeah, this is where you can see all of this stuff. Right, this is one thing. And the other thing is the main advantage or the benefit or one of the benefits of this course is you can go to your lab assignment. Yeah. See here itself you have lab assignments, like particular day. Let's say we started with the Git. On this particular day, what are the assignments, exercises here, the quiz, the interview questions, and for the support, this will take you to the WhatsApp group. Everything will be there on the video here. Here we have added some sample videos, of course, the from the previous batch, so and the options here to help you understand how the setup would look like. This is your learning system or learning portal which we have provided. And here are the lab assignments again, interview questions, quiz portal, sample resumes, interview videos as well, right? If you just go here for the lab assignments, we have taken additional precautions or extra caution on developing these lab assignments so that users or like students can execute their lab with a much ease. Otherwise, this lab documentation earlier used to take some time. People were stuck up there doing the hands-on. It takes a lot of time, and we have busy people who are experienced working professionals. They may not be providing enough time or dedicate some time for hands-on. Hands-on is very important for DevOps. I would say 95% is a hands-on, right? In our course also, like today it's an overview and the high level picture, but when we start the topic, actually it will be completely hands on. So you should also dedicate the same amount of time for the hands on to gain expertise on the subject. We want everyone to benefit out of the course. It's not just we complete the course and move on. We want you to reach your goals. So we have taken extra step and efforts to prepare this lab so that very easily you can execute your labs after the class so that you gain expertise before you come to the class itself. That's how on daily basis you improve yourself and gain confidence to work as a DevOps engineer. See, this is of course installation. Even installation steps were there very clearly so that you don't need to struggle, go after this document, that document and all, right? You have everything clean and clear, day wise hands-on. See the Git commands, the from basics or to till advanced, every topic including the scenario was here, which helps you to do your hands-on, right? And also the interview questions, different levels of interview questions were here. And this lab, we have got very good feedback on this lab assignments which are helping students a lot, right? And the next advantage or the main benefit is, sorry, and the main benefit is the interview questions. If you just go here, right, topic wise interview questions. Also, let's say, okay, I'll go to get the first one. If you go to Git, again, beginner levels, intermediate level, advanced, and scenario-based questions. These are not just the interview questions from a dump. These were, again, every interview question is taken care, either from my experience as I sit in the interview panel, from my experience, I have added some, I have got this from the students who cleared the interviews or else who couldn't answer the questions. Even all sort of questions were added here. This guide is again having a 5-star rating if you see the reviews and the testimonials from the students, which help them to crack the interviews. Like, well, let's say we have covered day 1 today, Git, right? First do a day 1 lab, come here, take up the beginner questions, right? And as we progress, you step into the intermediate, advanced, scenario based. That's how you should progress. And by the time we complete each tool and integrate into the pipeline, you should be able to master that particular topic. That's how we progress, because DevOps is too vast. Spending more time doesn't mean we are covering the course. Spending the time in a well-designed and a structured manner will give you the fruitful results. That's what we believe, and that's how the course is designed for 2 months, by designing all the course content, the interview questions, everything streamlined. That's how we can achieve it in 2 months with a proper planning and proper design. And the quiz portal, which will help you recheck your understanding every day, validate yourself. Okay, today Git is done or tomorrow Docker is completed. How much I understood Docker? Do I still have questions? Or like, let's say, okay, I'll take this quiz. I have got some 2 incorrects. You can retake it and check yourself. You'll be getting the feedback, I mean the score immediately, so that you can understand where are you up to. You can retake it by again listening the class recording, doing the hands-on, come back and take up the quiz. And there were so many quizzes, and we are looking for people, like students should come back and say we need more quizzes. We are ready to add more. Once you master them, we want to hear from students asking we need more quiz. Yes, we have such students as well who had the multiple offers in hands even in the registration time, right? Accordingly, we can give you a lot of content if you need. If you need more quiz, yes, we are ready to provide them. As in you gain confidence and expertise, these things, we can keep on posting those quiz to revalidate, recheck your understanding, lab assignments, these are all the main features: assignments, interview questions, quiz, and the sample resumes. Of course, we help you build your custom tailor-made resume. We have a counselor. You can reach out to Mr. Raj. He's the counselor for our course. He's the experienced person who can guide you in a better way how to showcase your resume, how you can market yourself, right? Also, here are some sample resumes which you can download if you want to customize yourself. But we are here if you need any help. You can reach out to Mr. Raj. This is his number for any further details on the course. Any further details, any counseling you need, any tailor-made resumes you need, any career counseling guidance you need, he's the right person to reach out. And the interview videos. Here are the interview videos. Like, interview questions were made into videos so that you can also just listen if you're very busy or you are traveling. During that time also, you can just listen to these ones, so that a lot of time would be saved. Many are added up here. Actually, it's named as Google Drive. It's not a Google Drive actually anymore. Earlier, it used to be Google Drive, but we have all the lab documents added up here as well, right? It is there on the website as well as here. And if you just go to anything, let's say go to Jenkins. Yeah, you have all the documents here, lab references. So these are all the materials you will get access to, the features you have from this course. And let me walk you through the course content, as some of you are asking. Here is the syllabus. Of course, again, there is a much more will be covered than which is highlighted here. Here, EKS is not added up here. Orgo CD is not added up here. JFrog is not added up here. Those three are missing here because those are all the new additions, right? But yeah, here is the content. And some of you are asking what are all the AWS services covered. Here, I would like to tell you one more thing. Here, yes, AWS services are covered, but it's not covered as a topic. Means, okay, we have to cover AWS, let's start AWS and cover all the services. No, we are covering AWS services as per the scenario based. Means, let's say, okay, now, okay, this container is going down, I want to provide high availability, I'll go for Kubernetes. That's where comes EKS. That's how AWS is spread across the course for 2 months, right? Got the point, everyone? It is spread throughout the course. It's spread across. Even Linux is also same. It's spread across. Of course, Linux, in the initial day, we'll cover the basics, but we'll keep on learning across the course. And let me show you some of the AWS services highlighted here. Yeah, IAM service, VPC, EC2, S3, load balancer, auto scaling, EBS, ECR, Elastic Container Registry, ECS, EKS, and again AWS code build, code deploy, code commit, code pipeline. All of these services are covered. Rahul, I believe that answers your question. Any more questions here on the course? And I mean on the course content or any other questions?
Hi Preethi.
Hello.
First of all, very good morning.
Yeah, good
Uh,
morning. Please go
my
ahead.
question is like, I'm having 10 years of experience in telecom domain. So I was just searching some jobs in DevOps. So I was going through the job description of those jobs which requires 5+ years of experience. So I was just checking that they require a guy who used to build the pipeline along with having a knowledge of shell scripting or bash scripting along with some database knowledge of AWS. So are we going to cover all these things in this course?
Okay, Haddeep, yes, shell scripting will be covered and the Linux knowledge you'll be gaining it. And just a second.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the Linux topics we are covering, right? We are covering shell script. But coming back again to the particular job descriptions, I again have this question very frequently asked, right? How much shell scripting you should know? Here the focus is DevOps, not shell scripting. And shell scripting is not mandatory for all the DevOps projects. Shell scripting, Python scripting is good to have, but it's not mandatory that every project will use, means every DevOps project will use shell scripting or DevOps. Sorry, shell scripting or Python scripting kind of, right? So firstly, you should choose where you want to go ahead. Let's suppose I'm coming from non-development background, or else I don't know coding, or I don't know scripting, I don't know shell scripting, I don't know Python scripting, and I would like to get into DevOps where I have to work on cicd or else a Docker containerizing part or Kubernetes deployments and all. That's my focus, and I would look for those job descriptions, right? And the job descriptions where they are looking for Linux background or Linux or shell scripting kind of, a person from those backgrounds can be getting into it. It's not that every job description is for us, right? Every job description will not suit everyone. So choose the one which you want to. If you want to get into a project where shell scripting, Python scripting is there, yes, you have to learn them separately. That would need some Linux administration background kind of, or in-depth skills of scripting. Those people can go for it. And again, I'm telling, not that every project needs that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you choose the job description. Choose the DevOps roles where shell scripting will be a part of it, but it's not that the person should be expertise in shells. Means they are not looking for a DevOps guy. They're looking for some person who can do some scripting. So choose the description, job description where you want to get ahead into. If you get into this shell scripting role where they are looking into, you'll be stuck up there, not into a DevOps role. So choose the one, understand the job description wisely, and get into the one. Let's
And
say you are interested in scripting, you
hmm,
want to get into it. You have to take it as separately. It's not a DevOps course. You have to learn scripting separately.
okay. And are we going to cover database services and security services on AWS?
AWS IAM service is covered. Database service will not be covered. Those are project specific things, right?
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Here, the services which are required for DevOps in general will be covered. Project specific services will not be covered, like you mentioned DB services.
Sure.
Preethi,
In Git part, are you covering Git submodules and Git LFS? These are two demand product part.
Will not be covered, Praveen. We'll be covering it from the perspective of DevOps. Like as a DevOps person, I have Kubernetes config files. How do I version control them? How do I help in resolving the conflicts? How do we work pushing onto it? These things will be covered. Here are the topics which are covered. From basics till advanced are covered, which are needed for DevOps engineer.
Not submodules and LFS.
No.
Mm. Okay.
See, for a DevOps engineer, particularly, if you have experience or expertise, or if you have very good knowledge in Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, these are the demanded ones. Particularly Kubernetes, EKS, it's a paid service on AWS, and it is the one which is like 50% of the projects in the market or EKS. So I'm covering this as well, the paid service. This is just a small list of content added here. There we are covering this EKS, which will help you to clear your interviews. If you add this in your resume, it will help you a lot, particularly the Kubernetes. We are focusing on those things which will help you get into the DevOps projects or clear your DevOps interviews, where EKS, Terraform is the focus. EKS, Terraform, Docker, and then next thing is Jenkins. These are very, very important for a DevOps engineer. These are the focus. Git is a tool which everyone will use. Developers, testers, everyone will use. This is a part of a CI/CD pipeline. It's the initial part where we pull the code and execute the pipelines. So we will learn it definitely again from basics till advanced from the DevOps perspective. But the focus would be the actual DevOps, where DevOps begins. The DevOps begins from containerization part. This is the main focus, and this is where your interview questions will be focused on. Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform. Of course, if any project specific requirement is there for configuration management, Ansible. The most demanded one is Jenkins, Docker, Kubernetes, particularly the EKS and the Terraform. And we get the resumes where people add these tools without basic or without strong foundation. So people with a strong foundation here will be having a lot of demand. You could also demand the the pay scale also would be as. So that should be the focus, and that's the help you'll be getting here. Coming to the lab setup as well, we will set up our lab on AWS, and whichever tools we can do, we can, like a Git or like a Linux basics, we can execute in our laptops also if you have Linux, or else we'll go for AWS. The lab setup, we'll create a free AWS account. The lab documentation, lab setup are all available here as well. In the lab assignments itself. This is all installing it. You should have something for AWS setup also. Any more questions from anyone?
So recordings will be available throughout the course?
Yes, everyday class recording available. Today's class recording will be available in this URL. Right here will be the recording uploaded today, the class recording. Also, everyday class recordings will be available with a private access after the demos. And these videos will be available for lifetime access. Everything, all the material will be available for lifetime access.
Mhm. So the WhatsApp support is done by you or someone else?
Me, I'll be there in the WhatsApp group. And
Okay,
also we'll have Raj as well. He's also experienced in DevOps. He'll be also there. I'll be there as well.
sure. And one more general question, nothing to do with the DevOps. I'm not sure you have answer or not. Last 10 years, I'm working as a senior developer. That's what's my title. So now I'm going to jump into DevOps. Then my title is going to be again senior DevOps engineer or something. And in future, it's going to come AML. Again, I'm going to learn the AML and I'm going to become senior ML engineer or something. So how I can move next level? Actually, it's always coming something new and I'm focusing on that. Stays the same level and with new technology. So how can I level up in the corporate ladder?
Hello. Yeah, hi, this is Raj.
Hi, Raj.
Yeah,
Please.
see, regarding your question, say this is the IT, we had to learn whatever is in the demand in future. So we must learn that thing. When come to that, so you have 10 years of senior DevOps in Electro, right? Sorry, developer, right? So in your case, so if you want to switch to the DevOps, so you are developer. So almost you are using the most of the DevOps tools in your projects, like Git, Jenkins, all these things. You can update your resume with the DevOps tools since last 3 years or 4 years, as a that you have hands-on experience on the DevOps tools. Here another one more option is there. If your designation is like simply a DevOps developer or something like that, uh, what you can say, if it's something like that, you can show that you are working on a DevOps technology, DevOps methodology. So like that, you can show your experience in your current profile with a developer profile as a DevOps engineer. If something your designation is something like it is a software developer, engineer, associate, or senior associate, or some other thing. So like generic things. So you can show that you worked on DevOps for 3 to 4 years. And with this course, so for a fresher or something, so they can claim themselves as a 3 to 4 years of experience if they perfectly complete the lab multiple times. And another thing for the people who worked for long, for 10 years or 15 years, so apart from these 3 to 4 years, the remaining experience, the IT experience, the process experience, so what they have in the for the 10 years, so it will add additional benefits to the current project, this is DevOps.
Thank
Is
you.
it right?
Yeah, thank
Raj,
you for answering
maybe
this.
you misunderstand my question. Otherwise, I didn't explain properly. I put it in the chat box. So could you please take a look at it and let me know?
I'm reading out the question. Okay, Raghu says, I have 10 years of experience as senior developer and now my transition DevOps with the title of senior DevOps engineer. As new technologies like AI/ML emerge, I plan to learn and move into that space, potentially as a senior ML engineer. With these shifts in skills and roles, how can I strategically progress in the corporate ladder? Raj, you are not audible. Maybe I can't hear you. See, Raghu, let me help you out here. Like you in IT, definitely there will be two new tools, technologies emerging, and that's how you should progress, picking up the demanded tools or the ones as per the requirement. You should learn and upskill ourselves, right? Like today, Kubernetes Terraform is on demand. We are focusing on that. We are gaining expertise, certification on them, right? Tomorrow, some other tool might be emerging. Maybe it could be in DevOps or something else. That's how we can progress. But our previous experience will be an add-on. It would be a backbone for us. Like you have 10 years experience of development, it's still your backbone. It helps you. Like you know the process, you know the development process. You might be using some of the tools which DevOps is using. Similarly, today you are learning DevOps. There might be some tools, some skill set which you learned in DevOps would be utilized in the ML ops kind of things. So it is like all our skill set, whatever we are learning would be still as a backbone, which will help us to progress. It's not that it's going in vain. Your development experience it's not going in vain, right? Same is the case. You learn DevOps here, you become expertise DevOps senior engineer here for 10 years. Next, another technology is coming in. Still, this is your backbone. This is what you are in IT, right? So that's how you progress. There's no wrong or else nothing a drawback of getting into the new technologies. Maybe I think I answered it.
Yes, I got it.
Right? Like, let's say you are a developer, you might be using Git, you might be using Git. That's what I said. These are the tools which everyone is still using it, but not in a DevOps methodology. So coming to another part also, let's suppose another person, maybe not you, someone else, 10 years developer, they want to now show some experience in DevOps. Like if you can gain good expertise, you can tell out of 10, 5 years as DevOps engineer, you have used these tools. Let's say you have manually running a test cases. Maybe you have automated it with Jenkins. You can add it that way. Or else you can integrate all the tools and showcase the same project into DevOps also. It all depends on how much experience you gain. Still, let's say you don't want to do that. You want to 10 years developer. That is also fine. Now you will say you have knowledge on these tools. You have learned these, implemented them. Now you are working as a DevOps person. That is also quite obvious, and companies are welcoming those candidates as well. And yes, your 10 years experience is still a gain for you. Same is the case with the DevOps. I have 10 years DevOps. Tomorrow, new technologies coming up. I should be flexible, go on. Still, these 20 years, 10 years developer, 10 years DevOps is going to be a backbone or my strength when I move to new technologies.
So the growth is, I can see horizontally, means because I'm adding more skills and knowledge, but I'm not seeing vertically because today I'm developer, tomorrow I'm going to be lead and project manager or program manager or something. I'm not seeing that kind of growth. That's why I'm little bit concerned and worries about.
How many experience you have?
I mentioned 10 years experience in IT.
In the current company, how many years? Like the present company, all the 10 years in the same?
I switched for 3 different companies.
Okay. See, the growth, the vertical growth depends on your organization, the structure. In some teams, it depends, like it depends on your team or your organization structure as well, right? Also, the expertise you are showing, the out of box you are doing, all these things, many things which counts your vertical growth. Some in some projects or in some team, some person who joined in a year maybe moved to a lead or a manager or a director position, right? In some teams, it will take so much time. It depends on the team where you are, the project, the organization structure. Org structure would be totally different. The vertical growth depends on the particular org, the teams you are in. I'm talking about the technical expertise you are gaining. So both are two different things. But with the expertise you gained, you could also gain the vertical growth. That's the assumption actually. But there were so many factors under those vertical growth, how many years it takes you to go to a lead or a next levels and so on.
Thank you.
So this is all for today. Any more questions, you can reach out to me or Mr. Raj, reach out to this number. We are there to help you. And tomorrow also you can use the same link to join, right? Same Zoom link to join for the tomorrow's class. Any further questions, anything you have, you can reach out to me.
Preethi, I have a question in the chat box.
Sorry, Gangadhar, I missed it. I'm going through it. Yeah. Okay, I have been working as Oracle Apps DBA for 10 years, mostly on production support role, patching, upgrading, and maintaining Oracle applications. How DevOps will help to enhance my skill set. I heard with one trainer that DevOps will take over the DBA role. Please let me understand from your perspective if you have worked closely with the DBAs. Okay, have you just started learning AWS and Oracle Cloud this year? I don't have any development experience. Have just started. You have started learning AWS Oracle Cloud this year. Okay, I don't have any development experience and basic knowledge of Java or Python. Have seen many roadmaps in YouTube showing must knowledge of Python. Okay. Okay, Gangadhar, like you are coming from a DBA background, right? Like I said, even Raghu has the same question. What if, what happens with our previous experience? Like we have a great experience into development or operations or admin. That will be still your backbone, your strength, right? You know, you are a database admin. I don't have much idea about DB, but I'll just give a very simple example. Let's suppose you know very well how to work on the DB schema, how to design the database and all, right? So the same thing would be there on cloud as well. Like cloud services are there which are relevant to DB. You have already done that manually. The same thing will be with in the form of a service or in an automated fashion here. Unless you know that manual things, you can't gain expertise on those DB relevant services on AWS. Am I correct? Is that making sense? Logical, right?
Yes, yes.
That's how still your experience is needed, or you'll have still your value added to the project. You can still add value to the project as a senior person coming from DB experience. You can be working on those DB services. Like in DevOps also, there were DB services which we deploy through the CI/CD pipelines. So that's where your strength is. And again, not every project might be relevant to DB, right? You might be working, if you know this process of automation, you can work on other DevOps pipelines as well, where DB is not there. If you learn this automation process, you need not be bound there, but still your experience counts. Wherever there is scope, wherever this expert is needed, you will still have like your own requirement.
Okay. Hey, one more question. Can we learn Docker and Kubernetes without having a knowledge of Jenkins and all? Can we
You
spin
can,
up? Can we
yes.
spin up on a virtual VMs and practice Docker and Kubernetes on the Linux?
Definitely. Definitely, you can. You can learn that. They are not dependent, like you should learn Jenkins to use this. But the whole thing is, yes, you know Docker perfectly, you know Kubernetes perfectly. But let's say you want to also automate that. You want to put it in CI/CD, right? So that's where Jenkins comes, right? Some CI/CD tool is needed if you want to automate that. Even Docker containerizes the things. But even the next step of a thing also you want to automate. Like let's say whenever developer write the code, you want to containerize this new code. So that's where CI/CD can be used, like automatically if you want to do that. So it's not compulsory, mandatory, but good to have. For any person in DevOps, the CI/CD process is important. Containerization, Kubernetes are equally important. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
For learning, you can learn any tool individually. Expert is that. On top of it, if you know integration with Jenkins, yes, that will be an added advantage for you. And there's a question from Prasanna. Hi Preethi, good morning. Myself already working as Agile project manager in an MNC. I hope DevOps will be the right choice for me for the next level. Definitely, Prasanna. Like for a manager, particularly like when you are working on the methodology, having a good insight about the tools, technologies, good understanding will be very much beneficial. A technical leader is a great add-on, right? You are already a leader, a manager with a technical strength is definitely unbeatable. Correct?
Okay, Preethi. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah.
There are also, like I would like to say, there are people managers, there are team leaders, like who don't have in depth of these DevOps tools and all, but they know the process. That's a great thing they are doing.
Correct.
Apart from this, if they have this technical strength, definitely the project, like you can improve the productivity, you can give better suggestions, better advices, better options you can choose for the team. And
Got it, Preethi. Yeah, thank you.
and I myself work as a DevOps manager with a technical strength. I know like how we can make the difference. So definitely
Okay.
this is a choice for managers as well.
Okay,
And
Preethi.
the
Thank you.
question, thank you, Prasanna. And a
Thank
question
you.
from Raghu. Sometimes Kubernetes can take around 2 months to learn thoroughly. Is it possible to learn it in a short duration with focused effort? Raghu, like I said, Kubernetes not only for 2 months, you can learn Kubernetes for 1 year also. Right? You see the Kubernetes documentation, it's a Bible, it's an ocean. Not only Kubernetes, any tool, particularly Kubernetes, definitely it is. It's so complex, advanced, and very vast. But like I said, I'm certified experienced professional in Kubernetes. From my personal experience, I know what to learn, what we should focus to do the Kubernetes deployments, to make efficient Kubernetes deployments, or to make the Kubernetes effective usage, right? I know that very well. With that, the course content is designed. In the same way, I know what what students should learn, how they can learn, like what we should teach them. That's how the course is designed. If you learn this course and the hands-on labs for Kubernetes, what I teach here, definitely you can work comfortably in your projects. And with again, upon learning these Kubernetes, you have the assignments, the interview questions, the quiz. All of them will help you gain solid experience or solid expertise in Kubernetes. That's the focus, right? You can't learn every tool for 3 months. If you learn every tool for 6 months and then go for DevOps, that by the time DevOps will be like the warmth you have or the fire you have now on DevOps may not be there later on. So you should gain the advantage, or you should get into the market when the demand is there, when the technology is hot. So that's the focus. That's the point kept in mind while designing the course. I think, yeah. Any more questions from anyone? Or still, if you want to talk or if you need any counseling, you can reach out to this number on the website. We are here to help you.
Preethi,
And
I need 1 minute. Okay, you said 2 projects will cover in this project in this term batch. Are you covering Argo Seed and Helm chart in that integration part projects
yes, of course, our GoCD help charts will be covered.
in
Yes.
that project?
Yes, creating custom Helm charts will also be covered. Actually, that's not included in the course in the
Yeah.
syllabus. Like I said, right, this syllabus is updated some months back. We are focusing on which will help students immediately. Like this lab, like I said, we are continuously working on it. If you see, these are updated on December 30. Again, we have a latest version on January 15th. We'll again update these things. We are focusing on them, which will help them immediately in that thing, because it's a personal a team of people working. It's not an institute or something like that, right? We are taking our time off from our working hours doing it. So we are focusing on what will benefit the students rather than what will help us. If I keep all the thing, definitely it will look longer. The course content will look longer. People get attracted by it, but we are not focusing on it. We are focusing on the real content. But again, yes, that should be updated here. Yes, those will be covered.
Preeti, one last question.
Yes, please.
If I talk about the interview section, so like you guys also help us in getting the interviews after 2 months.
Like I said, Hardeep, this is not an institute or this is not some consultancy kind of. We are individual group of working professionals working on this. Our intention is to make students to gain the knowledge and clear the interviews. Right? If you have any references within our internal groups, in our circles, we will forward it to you. So we don't want to make a false promises like we'll put it in it. But the thing is, what I can assure you here is, if you learn these tools, if you gain expertise, you don't need some other push, particularly for DevOps at this point of time. DevOps is having a very good demand. And if you add these tools, particularly Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, if you add on Jenkins as well, if you put these tools in your resume, you will definitely get the calls. And with our training, if you learn, if you take up our training and if you gain expertise on it, you can clear your interviews on your own. So you don't need additional push of references or someone helping you to get into the job. That is the idea of this. This is what we can do from our end.
Sure, thank you.
Hi, Preeti. Amrita here.
Hello, Amrita. Hi.
Yeah, I have a, small doubt actually. See, he was mentioning like if somebody is a developer or something like that, they can put a fake of 3 to 4 years kind of a thing. And once with this course, they can get that much expertise to put a fake for the 3 to 4 years, correct?
Okay, let me tell you, Amrita, first of all, let's say someone is having 10 years experience as a developer, right? He need not fake it. We shouldn't call it as a fake. What we are telling is, what we are trying to tell is, you might not be a DevOps engineer. You are a developer, but still you are using Jenkins Git there, right? So you can show them, you can put that you have used them in a proper way in a DevOps approach, and you can put the same thing there, right? You can put the same thing in the range. That's not faking. Like, you are just portraying that you have used them in the same way. Or else, let's say you are a developer, but still you haven't used those tools. Still, after learning this course, you can put them in your resume, right? We cannot call them as a fake. That's the right thing to do. And again,
Yeah.
come to someone with a career gap. Let's say you have a career gap, right?
Yeah.
Having some career gap. and they want to put a DevOps. Definitely, yes, you can showcase the same. You may have a career gap for various reasons. That wouldn't be a drawback, or that shouldn't stop you from
No,
getting.
that's what the question was exactly I have not completed. Sorry to
Oh, sorry.
interrupt. See, means for example, take mine only. I have a career gap, but before the gap or something like that, the role was a lead, tech lead. Hmm? So if that would be the case, will I be having a scope?
Yeah, definitely, right? You might be a tech lead, like you might have used some of the Git Jenkins in your project, or you might not have used. But after learning this, you can integrate these tools in your previous resume.
Hmm.
You got it, right? Let's say you have some automation test case
I got
execution.
that point. So what role I can opt for?
Well, tech lead only, tech lead in the DevOps. This course, okay, I got your point. If you are placing those DevOps tools, can you gain that experience as a tech lead? You can. This course will help you very easily to claim 3 to 4 minimum years of experience. Because see, the content, these topics, or else uh, these tools like EKS, these are not just simple or the basic ones, right? EKS is a far advanced service. Kubernetes is far advanced tool itself. Even Docker, these are all very hot technologies and very advanced tools and topics. And an experienced person can only gain expertise on, let's say if someone is working on the project, not that everyone will be given chance to work on this EKS. Freshers will not get that chance or visibility, right? So here you are getting that visibility of working on EKS cluster, auto scaling, implementing auto scaling here, CI/CD pipeline on here, even Terraform to spin up your. These are all advanced topics where even a real candidate wouldn't get an experience. Even an 8-year candidate may not get experience or exposure to such topics depending on their project. So when you put these in your resume and knowledge that you have used them in your previous projects as a tech lead, you still will continue as a tech lead. You can still apply for the same role.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
And if you want to cover the gap also, there would be options. But still, if you want to showcase the same gap also, that should be fine. Companies are inviting people with the gaps. That should not be a blocker. If you know these technologies, still you can claim the same experience.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think we have covered a lot. And before closing the session, I would like to thank each and every one of you for spending your valuable time over the weekend with us. And thank you all for joining the session. And yeah, that's all from our end. If you still have any questions, reach out to this number. And there's a WhatsApp group created for registered students. You can also go through it. And that's all for us from today. And please use the same Zoom link for tomorrow. See you all tomorrow. Thank you all. Bye, everyone. Have a great Sunday. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Preethi. Have a nice weekend to you too.
Thank you all.
Thank you.